guys, it's your girl Jackie from the Financial Literacy Tribe coming at you with a brand new video. Okay, oh yeah. So I've been doing some research for myself and for my family, and so I came across a very interesting question, and I would love to hear you guys' opinion. And that question is insurance always worth it? Now, I know there's a bunch of different types of insurance, so this is obviously a very broad question, but I figured we could kind of discuss it. So let's jump right in. As mentioned in the beginning of this video, obviously there are many different types of insurance. As I was doing my research, I realized that you can pretty much insure just about anything. I was reading this article, and I'll link it down below in the description box for you. But basically it was discussing how back in 2012, the company known as Procter & Gamble, they had picked Heidi Klum, the model, to be their new spokesperson, and they had her legs insured. Like, her actual legs had like an insurance policy on them in case anything ever happened to her legs. I was like, okay, weird. I wonder if like you can insure other body parts too. Like, can I just like randomly walk into a company and be like, I want to insure my elbow? I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing, but I thought it was interesting. So there are obviously many different types of insurance, some of which aren't even an option, they are required. As an example, here in the United States, I don't know how it works in other nations, but here in the US, if you drive a car, that car must be insured. That's a no-brainer. There's no options there. You need car insurance. So in terms of, is car insurance worth it or not? You don't really have an option either way. Although I will say that if you don't have to drive, then don't. Like, I live in northern New Jersey, and car insurance is freaking expensive for no reason. Well, there's probably a reason, but it's really expensive. Annoyingly expensive. But anyway, I digress. Another one that I'm pretty sure is required, I don't know for sure because I'm not a homeowner yet, but I'm pretty sure that if you have a mortgage or a home that you own, that property insurance is also required. I'm almost positive. But the two that I really wanted to focus on for this video are totally optional. And those are the ones that I have been researching relatively heavily. The first one is renter's insurance. I currently have a small apartment. Take it all in. Take it all in. It's a 1-bedroom. So I am a renter, and I do have renter's insurance. And I will tell you why. First, before I tell you why, I will tell you that I have gotten into actual arguments with people, even like some of my neighbors who are like,
renter's insurance is a waste of money. Why would you spend the money on it? It's a waste, blah, 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 blah.
And I respectfully disagree with that, and I will tell you why. So if we're talking in terms of rental insurance, obviously my number one thing with any type of insurance, not just renter's insurance, but with any insurance, I think that it's always really important to see what it is that the policy covers, how much it is that you're going to be paying out of pocket in terms of fees, and just make sure that you're really, really clear on what the fine print is, because you don't want for like an emergency to happen and then you're like, oh crap, I thought that I was covered for this, but in actuality I'm not. So just make sure that you're clear, because every policy, depending on what company you use, is going to be different. But for my renter's insurance policy that I took out, I can tell you that I pay literally $14 a month. That's it. $14 a month. And for that particular policy, I'm covered up to $10,000 worth of damages. So that means that if there were a fire or a hurricane or some sort of a crazy emergency within my home, the insurance company is going to cut me a check for up to $10,000 to replace all of the stuff that I have lost. In addition to the damages, there's also an additional $2,000 that gets paid out to help with relocating or like temporary housing. Because if you're thinking in terms of a fire, it's kind of like, okay, well, where would I go? You'd probably have to stay at like a hotel if you don't have relatives nearby. So they cover up to $2,000 worth of that. And there's also like some other stuff. Like I know that they have like a medical part to it, but it's like I have health insurance, so I probably wouldn't use that. But I thought it wasn't bad. You know, $10,000 worth of damages covered, and I'm only paying $14 a month for it. I thought it was a good insurance to have for me. So that's my opinion on renter's insurance. I would love to hear your opinion, so make sure that you comment below in the comment section. And finally, reminder, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Moving on to our next form of optional insurance that I have been looking into. The second form of insurance that I have been looking into is life insurance. Life insurance is something that is extremely foreign to me, and I am very unfamiliar with it because I'm not old. I am old, but I'm not old enough to the point where I'm like foreseeing my own end with insight. Is that a little deep? Is that a little dark? I just got a little emo on you guys. I'm sorry. But in general, I feel like younger people don't usually tend to really look into life insurance. But I think it's important to look into life insurance because you just never know what's going to happen. I feel like one of the reasons why it's like hard to talk about is because it's like such a morbid topic. Like this really, the idea of insurance in and of itself is you assuming that there is definitely a possibility that things can go very, very wrong in your life, whether it be a catastrophic fire or somebody that you love passing away or you dying. So it definitely involves kind of engaging with some really what can be dark and scary thoughts and concepts. But in my opinion, it's well worth it to research and decide whether it's a good choice for you, because guess what? These things are possible, right? Like not everybody has a terrible fire and loses all of their things, but some people do, you know, and everybody's gonna die, unfortunately, at some point, unless you're Oprah. I'm pretty positive Oprah is like immortal. Like I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna outlive all of us. So let's unpack life insurance a little bit more in depth. Life insurance is a contract. It is a contract in which the life insurance company is going to pay out a predetermined amount of money that's written in the contract to the beneficiary, that's the person that's getting the money, upon the death of the person for whom the policy is on. That's the simplest that I can put it. And I know that there's a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of characters, but there's a reason for that. I have to clarify, who is the policy on? Is the policy in case I die? Is the policy in case my parent dies? Is the policy in case my grandparent dies? Who is covered under this life insurance policy? And who's the beneficiary? That goes to say who's getting the money if that person croaks. So there's a lot of pieces that need to be clarified, and that's why this is such a like polarizing kind of a subject, I feel like. Like I had mentioned, I don't even remember whose video I was watching, but the person was basically like, yeah, you know, life insurance is like an investment. I don't see it that way. I don't know, it seems a little morbid in my opinion to be investing in the death of an individual. Although I guess technically, like the way that they were explaining it, and I'll try to find the video and link it down below for you. The way that the YouTuber was explaining it, there are very few things in this life that are guaranteed. Death is one of them. Like, if I were playing the lottery, I would have less of a chance of winning the lottery than I would of eventually dying. Like, I'm definitely gonna eventually die. And so for that reason, he personally feels like life insurance is a good investment strategy. Again, it's a little morbid in my opinion. I think it's because conceptually that would imply that you're almost like not only thinking about it, I don't want to say hopeful that the person's gonna die, but like, you know, grandma, whenever you want to go, I could use that new Ferrari. Like, it's just, the whole entire concept is a little gross in my opinion, but maybe you have a different opinion. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. If you are going to look at it from an investment sort of a standpoint, then obviously the policy would have to be not on you, right? Because then at that point, you would only get the money if you were to die, which from what I hear, you can't take it with you. I definitely think that it's an important tool. I definitely think that it's a very important kind of a safety net, specifically if you're talking in terms of a family unit where there are children involved. And I'll tell you why. If ever there's a family and one of the parents passes away, the other parent now has the full load, financial, emotional, physical, everything, of having to take care of the rest of the family members. And as any single parent will tell you, it's hard. I grew up with a single parent, so I know firsthand. It's hard, and you want to make sure that your family is well off if anything were to happen to you. So definitely, I think if there's ever a case where there are kids involved and there's a family, then I think it is important for both parents to be insured in terms of life insurance. That's my personal opinion. Well, what if, we'll just use an example, the mom is a stay-at-home parent or the dad is a stay-at-home parent? Does it make sense for that person to also have a life insurance policy on them? In my opinion, I say yes. And the reason is because, think about it, if one parent is kind of like the homemaker and the one who takes care of the kids, and the other parent normally works, the parent who takes care of the kids is gone, who the heck is going to take care of the kids? It's not like the need has just dissipated. It's not like the need to have that kind of support at home is just gone. It's still there. So wouldn't it make sense for there to be an exchange of funds? Now you have extra funds and you can afford to get babysitting or a nanny or a caretaker if you want to continue to be in the workplace. Or maybe you now don't have to work as much and you can be home supporting your family and getting through this really hard time now that this other parent is gone. So I still think that it's fully worth it to make sure that both parents are involved in terms of having a life insurance policy, even if one is a homemaker. That's my personal opinion. The other question that kind of came up pretty frequently when I was doing my research was whether it makes more sense to get a whole life health insurance policy, which I guess you pay your premiums on a monthly basis, or you can pay it off fully if you want to, and you're covered for the duration of your life, versus term policy, which is where, again, you're paying monthly premiums, but it's only meant to cover you. The policy is only in place for a pre-designated amount of time, whether it be 10 years or 20 years or something like that. So that's the other question that kept coming up. As mentioned, people have very strong feelings about that too, guys. I'm talking about my guy, Dave Ramsey, who always is very, very passionate when he talks about how he feels like whole life is a crock of BS. He feels like it is not worth the money. When you add it all up, it just doesn't make sense. And also, I feel like he has spoken about, he believes that whole life doesn't make sense because conceptually, if you look at life and how life should go, if you're doing everything that you possibly can to be on track financially, the idea is that, yeah, you're broke and your family would have a really hard time financially if you were to pass when you're younger. But as soon as you start to get much older, you should at that point be accumulating wealth in some way, right? You should have money in the retirement account. You should have money in the savings account. You should have money stored away during your older, latter years. So really the need to have this life insurance policy when you're much older, the need should not technically, hypothetically be there. I know that that's not always true. Not everybody's life is smooth sailing financially, and not everybody has tons and tons of money stored away to support their families if they were to go when they're old. We know that that's the case, but Dave Ramsey feels like that's how it should be, and so for that reason, term is always a better option. So I don't know. You can take that with a grain of salt. Definitely do your research as mentioned, and whatever it is that you choose, if you choose to take out a life insurance policy, and for whom you take out the life insurance policy and who's the beneficiary, I would love to hear about it. So make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Well, guys, that's going to do it for me today. I hope you found this video to be somewhat helpful. And if you did, be sure to hit the like button. As mentioned, if you are not currently subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel or I'm going to get Oprah on you. Be sure to check out my blog, which is available at focusedfrugalfab.com. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.